Good afternoon and good evening, everyone, and welcome to How to Sell Online with E-commerce Tools. My name is Colin Mahan, and I'm the Director of Programs at the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center. And for those of you who may not know, the Nasdaq Center is a nonprofit that's building a better path for entrepreneurs worldwide by improving inclusion, access, and knowledge in entrepreneurship. As you may have just seen in the chat, the Nasdaq Center launched a free mentor matching platform for entrepreneurs called Mentor Makers. You can create your own advisory board to guide and inspire you with in-the-moment mentorship from topic experts and professionals dedicated to providing exceptional mentorship to entrepreneurs across all races, industries, and geographies. So find or become a mentor today by using that link in the chat. Quick housekeeping, we're going to open up for a live Q&A at the end of the event, so please submit those questions for us in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation. We hope to get to them all. Now, none of what we do here at the center could be possible without all the amazing support from our sponsors, including Nasdaq, Lehigh University, Bank of the West, Airbnb, KPMG, Wilson Sonsini, Woodruff Sawyer, BPM, and HubSpot. We're grateful and humbled by their contributions. Now, during these still unique times, we're curious on how sentiment is among the entrepreneurs that we work with. So we're going to start by taking a quick poll to let us know how you're feeling about your business today. I'm going to launch this. Are you feeling optimistic, in survival mode, little anxiety, or a little fearful? Understood. All of these can exist in the entrepreneurial realm. So thank you for voting and let us know how you're doing. I'm going to let this open up for another moment or so. But looks like optimism is the winner this afternoon. But totally understand there's a little bit of survival mode and anxiety out there and a tiny bit of fear. So hopefully our presentation this afternoon will help each of you overcome those. So without any further delay, please join me in giving a warm welcome in the chat to our special guest, Petia Abdur-Razzaaq. She's a Grow with Google professional trainer and our special guest today. Petia, so excited to have you, and over to you.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of today's presentation. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Before we get started, there is so much for us to cover today. So, welcome to this afternoon's workshop. It's called Sell Online with E-commerce Tools. I'll start off by telling you a little bit about myself, just a little bit, because we have so much to cover. My name is Petia Abdur-Razzaaq, and being a Grow with Google trainer is just one of the many hats that I wear. My main hat is a boutique digital marketing agency owner, and I'm coming to you live from my home office in Harlem, New York. And one of the great things about existing in this digital space is that we can all have conversations and we can all learn from different locations, which is one of the things I love about this program and I love about what I do. In case you're wondering what Grow with Google is a program that delivers the best in digital training and tools and resources at no cost to audiences all over the United States, usually in collaboration with host organizations like Nasdaq. And this is our first presentation together. I'm looking to doing a lot more. And so let's dive in. Now, during the presentation, there's a lot to cover. I have a deck that has steps and things like that. So I usually turn my camera off just so that you guys can get the best possible view and experience of the material. However, during Q&A, I do hop back on so we can have more of a face-to-face conversation. So let me do that so that we can get started. A lot of people like to take a snapshot of this slide. This is my contact information. Please don't be shy. A lot of people don't like to speak up on the webinars, which I understand. But if there is anything that occurs to you or that you forget to ask, feel free to send me an email at my main agency address, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I only ask that if you do connect with me on LinkedIn, just let me know, hey, Petia, I attended your workshop. I'm one of the attendants that came through Nasdaq. I tend to respond more to those emails as opposed to blind requests. As you can imagine, LinkedIn, there are lots of requests, there are lots of people trying to make connections. And so it's helpful if you let me know why you're connecting with me. So let's jump into today's workshop. During the course of the next hour, I'll explain why it's critical for you as a business owner, specifically if you're a retailer, to sell online or to have at least a very robust presence online, even if your sales are still being made in your physical location. Now, we all know that it's important because potential customers need to be able to find your products. So to help you with that, I'll start by talking about two Google products, a business profile and Google Merchant Center. After that, I'll briefly introduce one e-commerce tool, Shopify, and walk you through the basics of setting up an e-commerce website. As always, and if you've ever attended any other Grow with Google workshops, you know that we always close out sessions with a quick recap and more resources that you can access on your own time. Let's get started. So every day, hundreds of millions of people turn to Google to find, discover, and shop. And we all know this, right? So sometimes you need to take off your small business owner hat, put on your consumer hat, and this totally makes sense. Now, this is not only limited to Google search. People discover products when they browse Google's news feeds, watch YouTube videos, and check their email as well on Gmail. Now, the research data shows that online shopping is on the rise, and we know this for sure, having just gone through a global pandemic, right? So in fact, shoppers go online first in 60% of shopping occasions. What we also know is that online shopping has a huge impact in driving visits to actual stores. So a global survey found that 45% of shoppers buy online and then actually pick up their merchandise in the store. Now, we know that retailers need to show their products online because it has the ability to drive sales. 58% of global purchases were prompted by something that the shoppers saw online first. Also, because we're all pressed for time, people want to know if the products they're looking for are actually available in store before they actually go to the store, right? So because of this, 46% of shoppers confirm inventory online before making that visit to the store. And if for some reason that product is not in the store but available online, then that is your opportunity to still close that sale. So the takeaway here is that you need to get your products online even if your sales are still happening offline. So question for you guys. Did you know that the average online shopping journey has over 140 touch points? That's a lot, right? Now, each touch point influences what people buy and, most importantly, who they buy it from. Now, the slide that we're looking at together lists some possible touch points on Google where US-based customer interaction can happen. Now, of course, this includes Google search, images, the business profile on Google, the shopping tab, shopping ads, and experimental places like Google Lens. So how do you as a small business owner take advantage of all of these possibilities? How can you get your products to appear on Google? Let's start with a Google business profile. For anyone who isn't familiar with the free Google business profile, here's a really quick overview. A business profile helps your business to stand out on Google search and maps. And so this is definitely intended for businesses who either have a brick and mortar location, or if you're a service provider like myself, you may not have, or you may not have an office space, but if you serve your clients within a specific geography, hence showing up on a map, then having a business profile can work for you. So the general rule is that it's available for businesses that make in-person contact with customers, either at a physical store or in a specified service area. So if you're strictly e-commerce, unfortunately, this is one tool that will not work for you. So on this slide that we're viewing together, you can see the business profile for a retailer called Spice House. And by the way, you guys, one of the things that I love about these presentations is that the example businesses that are used are actual small businesses just like you. So after the presentation, please go check out the Spice House. This is a real business that has been successfully using many of the best practices that I teach through these presentations and enjoying the benefits. So we can see on the business profile, there's some details about their Chicago store, such as their address, phone number, description, and more. The slide also highlights detail that appears on their business profile, and that would be their products. It's the essential spices collection. So here we can see the product photo, very attractive, name and price range. And if you were to click on the product, even more details would be revealed. Once you create or claim your very own business profile, assuming that you qualify for one, you too will be able to add products just as the Spice House has done. And we'll review that in the next few slides. Now, before you can use any of Google's products and services, you first need to be signed into a Google account. And so if you have a Gmail address, you already have a Google account. However, I highly recommend that if you're going to be using these products for your business, that you keep it separate from your personal Gmail. So you would either create a @yourbusiness@gmail account to manage your business, or you can also associate an existing email address. So for example, my business email address is petia@thestylistagroup.com, and I have actually associated that email address with Google that then allows me to access all of Google's digital marketing tools. So you don't have to worry about going and creating a whole new additional Gmail address, even though some people choose to do that as well. And you're able to do this by going to either accounts.google.com/signup or google.com/accounts, whichever you prefer. And if you are going to associate an existing address, there's an option that says use an existing address. And of course, if you're starting from scratch, you will create a new address. For today's workshop, I'm going to assume that everybody has already signed up for a Google account, whichever way you choose, and that you've already created and verified your business profile. If you have not done so yet, then you need to backtrack a bit. You will have to go to google.com/business. That's google.com/business. And you will have to set up your account and verify your business profile before you're able to do what I'm about to describe next. So I'm going to pretend that you did all of that. Now it would be time for you to add your products to your business profile. So you would sign in by going to google.com/business, and this is the dashboard that you will see. On the left navigation bar, you will see a link labeled products. You would click on products to access what's called the product editor. Next, you'll need to follow the next few steps. You will upload a product picture, of course, your product name, and create or choose a category. You will also have the option to include a price range, description, and a button that can link to the product details on your website. Once you do that, you will click Save. Now, please note that you need to wait a few minutes for newly added products to show up online. But in the meantime, because you are behind the scenes, you can preview how your product will appear to customers by clicking a little button that says See it here on Google. And then that is your opportunity, if you don't like how the product is showing up, to make some changes, maybe a better picture, maybe the picture is a little fuzzy, maybe something about the wording, right? Now, the great thing about this is that you can click on the product to make changes or delete it at any time. Now, this is what the same product would look like when you click on it from the business profile on Google. As you can see, there's a little button where someone can click to learn more. Now, if you were to click on this button for this particular Spice House product, you would be led to the product page on the Spice House's website. Now, I know one of the first questions that I'm probably going to get, so I'm going to go ahead and just answer it. No, there is no charge to add these products. And clicks on these products are also free as well. Can you believe that? Many people assume when they see these listings that somebody is paying for this. They are not. Ads something completely different, and we'll talk about that later in the presentation. So it's that simple. Claiming your business profile and the steps that we just went through is how you would add your products to your profile. But what about the other places on Google where your products can possibly be found? This is where our next topic, Google Merchant Center, comes into play. Retailers use Merchant Center to make their store and product information available to shoppers across the entire Google network. Yes, Google Merchant Center is free and you do not need to advertise to add your products to Merchant Center either. However, if you do want to advertise and you would like your products to surface in the shopping ads section on Google, you need to first set up Merchant Center and then you can run your ads from there. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but the point here is that all of this starts with setting up a Merchant Center account. So what is Google Merchant Center? I'm not sure how many of you have heard about it, you tried to do it yourself, or you just this is completely new to you. Merchant Center is a free tool that helps you upload your store and product data to Google and make it available for Google Shopping, Google Ads, and other Google services. Now, you only need to add your products in one place, Merchant Center. After those products are added, they are then eligible to appear in multiple places across Google. So let's take a look at a few places where your products might be seen. First, products and extra product information may appear in Google's search results, and that's where most of us tend to focus our search activity. So in the slide that we're viewing together, we see a series of product images with information beneath at the top of the Google search results pages. So these are your shopping ads, right? And to have that prominence, of course, and you can tell they're ads because it says ads, you would have to run an ad campaign, a shopping ad campaign. Now, below these ads are Google's organic search results. Now, these organic results typically include basic information, like, of course, a title, a description, and a link, but some of these results may show more. This extra information is called a rich snippet, and the snippet can really help a product to stand out. Now, the slide that we're looking at, back to our friends at the Spice House, we can see that the Spice House's ground fenugreek seeds are showing up in the search results. You will notice that there's a little bit of extra information like a star rating, and that's called a review snippet. It also includes product details like price and availability. So how can you have this happen for your products when they appear in Google search results? Well, if you have a web developer, you guys need to have a conversation. And what you will be asking your web developer to do is to add what's called a structured data markup to your website. Again, that's a structured data markup. What is that? In a nutshell, structured data is a labeling system added to your web pages, and the label helps Google and other web platforms to automatically understand your site and pull information like product data from the HTML code. In this example, one attribute from the Merchant Center, which is the product's availability, is being displayed for free in the organic search results. So, as the person doing the search, you're able to see that the ground fenugreek seeds are in stock. Now, here's a bonus for adding that structured data to your website. It can be used to automatically update products in Merchant Center. Now, of course, I can spend the entire workshop talking about the technicalities of doing this. So this is your first homework assignment. You need to talk to your website developer about doing this for you. And again, it's about adding structured data markup to your website. Moving on from that, that's one great thing that you should do. However, if you really are interested in having your products show up in the organic results, then the first step is really to set up Merchant Center. Now, products in Merchant Center can also appear at no cost in the shopping tab for US searches. So let's do a mini exercise together. Open a separate tab, go to google.com and do a search for a product, either your favorite product or a product that you yourself sell. Now, I prefer for you, if you are a retailer, I would prefer for you to do a search for a product that you sell, because the point of this exercise is to see if your competition is showing up in the shopping tab. Now, if you have not set up Merchant Center, obviously you're not going to show up. But if your competition has set up Merchant Center and they're showing up, then you know you have work to do. If they're not showing up, hint, hint, then this is your opportunity to have a competitive advantage. So you're going to do a search for the product. And then on Google, you're going to hit the shopping tab and see what happens. There's also a faster way to get to shopping on Google. You can also visit shopping.google.com, do the same search, and see what happens. So this is another place where your products can possibly show up through Merchant Center at absolutely no cost to you. You can also see products in Google Images. So again, mini exercise, go to google.com, do the search, then click Images at the top to see the results. The fast track version would be to go to images.google.com and to do the same thing. Now you can tell that the image in the results is connected to a product for sale if it has a product annotation or a product label. And the label usually indicates that you can click the product to get more information. Try it. Even if you don't try it live, try it after you leave today's session. And again, doing these searches for products that you yourself sell is definitely a way for you to see what's going on with the competition and to have a competitive advantage. Moving on to Google Lens. How many of you use Google Lens? With Google Lens, you can use your phone's camera to search in a visual way. It's basically like searching with an image instead of text. Now, this is an example of an experimental place where products may appear on Google. So in this slide, we're seeing a Google Lens search using a product photo from our friends at the Spice House. And guess what? Google Lens suggested similar pictures from the Spice House's website, including links to the corresponding product pages. Now, Google Lens, at least at this point in time, probably wouldn't give your products the same volume of exposure as a regular Google search. However, it's just an example of how Google tries really hard to show relevant products in places where customers just might be looking. If you haven't tried Google Lens yet, you can download the Google app from Google Play if you have an Android, App Store if you have an iPhone, and Google Lens is also available in the camera app of some Android devices, and it is also a part of the Google Photos app as well. Last but not least, Merchant Center helps retailers to advertise their products on Google. Now, you've probably seen many shopping ads. They're usually more than text, and they incorporate a product photo, title, price, store name, and much more. Shopping campaigns can be used to promote online and local inventory. And of course, when it comes to local inventory, these kinds of ads help nearby shoppers within a certain vicinity know what you have in stock, and the goal here is to drive sales to your physical location. In order to run these types of ads, you need a merchant center. So here's the basic process if you are interested in running shopping campaigns. First, the starting point is to create a Merchant Center account, add your products, connect Merchant Center to Google Ads, then create shopping campaigns to advertise your products on Google. Now, here's a high-level overview of how Merchant Center works. You'll start by creating a free account. Next, you'll upload products, and then those products can appear across Google in the various ways that I just reviewed. Merchant Center has an online setup guide available at g.co/merchant center. I'll repeat that again because that's one of the questions that I always get. It's g.co/merchant center setup. g.co/merchant center setup. And if you are completely unfamiliar with how Merchant Center works, the things you need available, I would recommend that you spend some time in the setup guide first before you try to do this, especially if you're going to do it yourself. It will save you a lot of frustration. And again, it's g.co/merchant center setup. But here's a basic overview of what the setup process looks like. You would start by visiting g.co/merchant center. And of course, you'll need to sign into Google, and we already discussed the two ways that you can do this. If you're already using an account for your business to access services like Google Ads, make sure that you sign into the same account. It makes it very easy for you to connect your various digital Google digital properties if you use the same email address for your business. Next, you'll enter information about your business, the basics, right? Your name. This is what potential customers will see next to your products when they appear on Google. The country where your headquarters is located or where your business is registered, and your time zone. And the time zone is important as it relates to reporting. Next, you will need to select options that apply to your business, and those are the checkout options, I should say, not just options, checkout options that apply to your business. And in Merchant Center, you have 3 choices. If you select on your website, that means that customers can see your products on Google, but they will need to, or they will be directed to your website to buy it. Selecting on Google means that customers can see your products on Google and buy them there. In this case, you don't need a website. Now, if you were going to use this service, you would have to use an additional service called Buy on Google to complete the transaction. Now, this service is still in pilot, so you need to stay tuned for more information as it becomes more widely available. And the third option would be at your local store. And with this options, your products will surface on Google, but then potential customers will be directed to visit your local store to buy them. And of course, you can change these checkout options at any time in your account. Next, you can link Merchant Center to third-party platforms. This can simplify the setup process for your Merchant Center. So if you already have an existing e-commerce store, go ahead and link it. Also, if you have been using PayPal, the same. Shopify is an option, and we'll talk about how that platform integrates with Merchant Center a little further down in the presentation. And of course, you can add more tools and integrations at any time. So this is what the Merchant Center overview page looks like. If you're just setting up Merchant Center for the first time, prompts are displayed at the top to help you complete your setup. The left navigation includes Product tab, which links to the area where you can add and manage products, Performance to view reports, and Growth, where you can access suggestions for improving the visibility of your products and as a result, driving more sales on Google. Now, if you selected the checkout options on your website or at your local store, you must verify your website before your products can appear on Google. There are 3 ways to do that. You can use Google Analytics or Tag Manager, or add an HTML file to your website. The good news for those of you out there that are using Shopify is that the website is automatically verified when connected to Merchant Center. So this allows you to skip those steps. We're going to pretend that we went through all of these steps and your Merchant Center is set up, right? It'll take a lot longer than a couple minutes, but for the purpose of this presentation, we can pretend. The next step would be to add your products. You will start by clicking Products in the left navigation, and this is what is highlighted in the screenshot. You can then click the button to add individual products, multiple products, or a combination of both. When you add an individual product, you will enter information about it in Merchant Center. Now, there are fields like title, link, and price that are required, but there are also optional fields as well, including variants. So say you sell products with multiple sizes and colors. You can include the variants with the product rather than creating a separate entry for each option. And this is very useful if you sell clothing or mugs or things that come with color variations, color or size variations. Please note that products that are added individually must also be edited individually. So you want to be careful about making that decision. Now, you can use a combination of individual product uploads and product feeds. Product feeds make it easier to add multiple products to Merchant Center. So let's take a really quick look at that. A product feed is a file that contains all the information about the products you want to show on Google. Now, the file usually includes information about your products that are referred to as attributes. To create the product feed in Merchant Center, you will start by entering some basic information like language. Next, you'll give that product feed a name. Now, remember that this name will not appear on Google, so nobody that's on Google seeing your products will see the feed name. However, for your purposes and to help with your organization, you should give the feed a descriptive name so that you can identify it in your account, especially if over time you will be uploading different product feeds. You want to make sure that you know exactly which feed is which so that you don't confuse yourself going forward. Next, you will choose how you want to add products to the product feed, to your product feed. If you're just getting started, one of the easiest ways is using Google Sheets with the template provided. If you select Google Sheets, Merchant Center displays two options: use a template or select another spreadsheet. You would choose the second option only if you had an existing product feed that is set up to work in Merchant Center. For the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to assume that you're starting from scratch. So in that case, you would choose the template. So the screenshot we are viewing together shows the Google Sheet Merchant Center template before products are added. Now there is a link to instructions for creating your feed as well as product feed specifications. Hint, hint, before you do any of this stuff, I highly recommend that you review all of the guides, all of the specification guides. It will just save you a lot of time and possible aggravation if you are fully prepared for what comes next. The detail on this slide also highlights the columns in the spreadsheet. Each column corresponds to a product attribute. Now, Merchant Center has specific requirements. Again, this is why it would make sense for you to do a review before you start doing anything. For example, the availability attribute accepts three options: in stock, out of stock, and pre-order. Now, I know that this sounds a bit technical, but at the end of the day, you guys, all you're doing is creating a spreadsheet with the product information that you want to display across Google. Once your Merchant Center has been set up, your products can appear in Google in many or all of the places that we discussed earlier. As a quick review, it was Google Search, the Shopping tab, Shopping Ads if you choose to run ads, Google Images, as well as Google Lens. And just a quick call out for the Google Shopping tab, that will be for US-based customers only. So there's still an important topic we haven't addressed yet. How do you actually sell the products on your own website? Now, many small businesses use third-party e-commerce tools to power their online stores. And of course, there are lots of great options available. So, believe it or not, this is my second presentation of this same deck for the day. And one of the questions that I got last time I did this, which is like an hour ago, was, are you guys saying that you should use Shopify because that's the best option? And I don't want to appear to be selling Shopify. It is just recommended, I would say, because the integration is seamless, especially if you've not done this before. It does not mean that if you're using WordPress or any of the other e-commerce platforms that you have to go squash your existing store that may be working for you and sign up for Shopify to do this. Merchant Center does connect with other e-commerce platforms. You may just have to take a few extra steps to get your website verified. So I just wanted to address that because an hour ago, like 5 people asked me the same question. Do I have to like squash my WordPress website and sign up for Shopify? And the answer is no. Of course, in the presentation, we will discuss Shopify, and that's only because the integration is seamless. Okay. So small businesses leverage the Shopify platform to grow their customer base, develop better customer relationships, grow their sales, and of course, to grow their small businesses. So in the next section, this is what we'll do. We'll review Shopify, why it exists, what it is. Then we'll talk about how you can easily and quickly start selling your products through the platform, regardless of your knowledge base. The last piece we'll touch on is how you can connect Shopify and Google to make sure that your products are getting found. So to understand the value of Shopify, it is helpful to understand the mission of the organization, right? And the mission is to make commerce better for everyone. They believe that every business owner should have the best tools to compete and thrive against much bigger businesses. Now, Shopify was founded in Canada 15 years ago and is now being used in 175 countries. The platform is used by 1 million merchants who collectively have generated over 155 billion in sales using the platform. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic that we all lived through, many business owners found themselves needing to pivot to stay afloat, and we can all relate to this, right? And what happened is that many offline or previously offline retailers turned to online sales, and some of them have actually come out stronger on the other side. Shopify allows you to sell your physical products in your own personalized e-commerce website. So going back to our friends at the Spice House, this is a great example of what a Shopify site can look like. You may notice that the site looks super professional, it's easy to navigate, and the pages load quickly. Why is page load time really important, you guys? Because the majority of web searches are happening on mobile devices, and so the pages need to load quickly, and they also need to be responsive, right? Also important to note is that the site's going to show up on Google. Shopify sites are designed to convert at the highest possible rate, meaning that it generates the most sales per visitor to your site. And again, this is a real small business. So if you don't believe the animation on the slide, go ahead, open a new tab and check out their website live. So here's how you can get started with Shopify. If you're starting from scratch, I am not advising anyone to go, scrap their current website that may be working for them. This is not what this is about at all. But for those of you who may be evaluating different options and who could benefit from a connection to Merchant Center, it is one of the more seamless connections, and that is why it is a part, the platform is a part of this Merchant Center presentation. So here's how you would get started. You would go to shopify.com and create an account. And you do this by entering your email address and clicking on the button that says Start Free Trial. Now, word of caution here that I like to share with everybody. I would not create this free trial account unless I was absolutely ready to start building my website. The free trial is for about 14 days. And so you should be utilizing that free trial time to get your website up and running so that when you start paying for subscriptions, you are in sell mode, right? As opposed to signing up for a free trial, wasting that time and having to pay without being sell ready. So once you have an account, you'll be able to log into Shopify from any device as long as you have an internet connection because it is a cloud-based service. Now, during your setup, you'll be asked a few questions to help Shopify to learn more about your business. I highly recommend that you ignore the skip button, please. I wish I could black it out on the slide, to be honest. Taking the time to fill out all of the questions will only help you because the platform can actually make recommendations based on the kind of business you have, based on the products that you sell to help you to perform better. So, grab your favorite cup of tea, coffee, whatever it is, sit down and just take the time to fill out all of the questions so that the platform can actually not only become a mechanism for you to sell, but also a resource in terms of best practices for your business. Now, once you create your account, you'll be logged into your admin section. Think of your admin section like the cockpit or the control center for your website, right? From here, you can modify themes, add products, view and fulfill orders, create email marketing campaigns, and view an abundance of reports. You will also need to fill in your payment, delivery, and pickup options, set up your tax settings, your terms of service, and of course, your return policy. But first things first, let's talk about how to get your products online. Now, when we talk about products in Shopify, we don't just only mean physical products. This is another question that I get, so let me answer it ahead of time. We're saying products, right? There's an overarching theme here. But if you're a service provider like me, I don't have a tangible product to show off. You can package your services to create digital goods. So maybe it's an online course. Maybe it is a bucket of consulting hours. Maybe it's a consultation plus, hours of implementation package. You have to get creative, right? But you can also sell services using the platform. I just want to make that clear. Then I'll go back to calling everything products. So here we go. When you add products to Shopify, they'll automatically be ready to sell across all of your channels. Now, if you're an established business and you have a spreadsheet of your inventory, clearly doesn't apply to a service business, right? You will have the option to upload that. But for the purpose of this presentation, let's say you're adding a brand new product. So you can see this is the control panel, and on the left side is where you have the options. So you would click Add Product, which will then activate a form with lots of fields. Now, you don't need to include every single detail, but here are a few key details you should absolutely complete. Make sure to give your product a name, a description, and add some details. So going back to our friends at the Spice House, we can see that this is how they fill out their product description for their ground Jamaican allspice berries. Nice little history lesson there as well. You'll also want to make sure to add your product images, and as we know, visuals are a key factor in whether a customer is enticed to actually make that purchase, right? Finally, you'll want to add a price for your product, and in this example, we can see that the cost of these Jamaican allspice berries is $6.99. Once you've submitted these details, your product will be ready to sell across all channels, including Google. So let's look at to round things out, let's look at how you can connect Google to Shopify. Shopify allows you to connect to your customers wherever they happen to be. And so that can be your website, in-store, a third-party platform, as well as social media channels. The great thing is that you can manage all of your sales across all of these channels from this one central dashboard. Now, you want to connect Shopify to Google because that's where people go searching for things. And I know I don't have to convince you guys about this because we do it every single day, several times a day, and it's free. To add Google, you will click on the sales channel in the sidebar and then click on the plus sign next to Google. When you add Google as a sales channel, it will sync in real time with your Shopify account. Now, you can make changes in products in either Google or Shopify, and it will sync in all of your channels. You will then click Add Sales Channel to proceed. Now, to set up the Google channel, you'll need to sign into your Google account. So again, this is why at the beginning of the presentation, I just laid the foundation that this is what needs to happen. If for some reason you don't have a Google account at this point, you will be prompted to create one, but I know that everybody that attended today's session will know the logical steps, so you guys will not be having to backtrack. Now, some rules that need to be paid attention to. To use Shopify's Google channel, your Shopify store needs to meet a few requirements in order to sync with Google Merchant Center. So your Shopify store has to be set up online and published, which is why I recommend that you don't sign up. If you're starting from scratch, you don't sign up for that free trial unless you're really ready to build your store out. Relevant payment and contact information, your refund policy in terms of service, and the countries and currencies that you will be selling in. Once your store requirements are met, it's time to sync your product feed. You'll need a Merchant Center account to do this, and you will click on the Get Started button to link or create a Merchant Center account. Some people like to take a snapshot of that screen. I'm not sure why. Okay, this is what happens next. You will be taken to a page to connect your Google Merchant Center account directly within the Google channel. Again, if you get this far without a Google account, you'll need to create one at this point. Now, this step is important to make sure that the shop you're connecting, and in this case, we're using the Spice House as an example, and the product information is in Google and can be surfaced to shoppers searching on Google. The Google channel imports your existing product data from Shopify to Google's Merchant Center. Now remember that ground Jamaican allspice berries product that we added in our store earlier? The Google channel will automatically fetch that data so you don't have to enter it twice or worry about making some errors. It's free to show your products in Google's Merchant Center, and once you do that, you also have the option, if you wish, to advertise those products with Google Shopping ads, but again, this is not required. Now you've linked your Merchant Center account to Shopify. At this stage, however, the products will not be syncing yet. In order for them to sync, you need to select the market or country that you will sell in and your shipping settings. So remember that step. If you're like, oh my goodness, I followed all the steps, what's going on? You need to select the market or country that you will sell in and add your shipping settings. Finally, you have the option to connect your Google Ads account to get started with smart shopping campaigns. Now, these are paid ads that help your products appear in front of shoppers on YouTube, Gmail, Google Search, and across Google. To set up a smart shopping campaign, you will need to sync your products and set a daily budget. Google will then optimize your campaign and choose the best time and place to show your products to shoppers. Now, I know that we've covered a lot of ground today, and if this is the first time you're hearing all of this, it may be a bit overwhelming, but no worries. This is why you'll have the recording. I have also shared a copy of the deck as well as the accompanying handout that you guys, I'm assuming, will be emailed as a follow-up after today's presentation. So small, consistent steps in the right direction. That is all you need to take. I'm not expecting anybody to be able to sit down and bang this out in a day, maybe not even a week, but just, moving in the right direction over time is what will help your small business. Remember that both Google and Shopify are designed to make it as easy as possible to get started. And you don't have to be good to start, you just have to be started. You just have to start to be good. So let's wrap up today's session with a few additional resources that you can access on your own time. Starting with Grow My Store. Grow My Store is a free Google tool designed for retailers who sell online, in-store, or both. And you can access the tool by going to g.co/growmystore. As long as you have a website, the tool can analyze and assess your overall customer experience. What happens next is that you will get a report that evaluates a range of factors such as product information, store details, website performance, personalization, also measures how fast your site loads. And again, this is really, really important because of the rise in the usage of mobile devices. You will receive a personalized report with tips for making site improvements. And if you would like to watch a really quick video tutorial, you can go to g.co/growquickhelp and search for the tutorial called How Can I Improve My Retail Website? So a lot of people like to take snapshots of these resource slides. So Grow My Store, you can take a snapshot. And if you are checking out the step-by-step tutorial, what you're going to look for once you access the playlist at g.co/grow/quickhelp is the video entitled, How Can I Improve My Retail Website? Next is a free tool called Local Opportunity Finder. And you can access it by visiting g.co/local opportunity finder. Pretty easy to remember, right? Now, this tool helps small business owners improve their presence on Google Search and Maps by analyzing their business profile on Google. And if you would also like to watch a quick tutorial, you can go to g.co/grow-on-air or g.co/grow/out and look for the video called How Can I Get the Most Out of My Business Profile on Google. This one is How Can I Get the Most Out of My Business Profile on Google. You can also continue learning about ways to grow your business using Grow with Google on Air. This free resource can help you grow your digital skills and help you stay connected and productive while working or managing your business remotely. So to access on-demand as well as live programming, you can visit g.co/grow-on-air to learn more. Okay, really quickly, because I want to get to your questions. When you get a copy of this deck, please do me a huge favor and go to slide number 61 and fill out this survey. This is a survey that Google has put together because they really want to make sure that the content that they're having us present is really impactful. And so they're looking for feedback. You can give them specific feedback about this presentation and also maybe topics that you would like to see be a part of the Grow with Google presentation list. So please, slide number 61, if you can just fill out the survey by going to g.co/grow/feedback or just scanning the QR code with your phone, that would be most helpful. Okay, so we are at the official end of the deck, right? This is all I have for this session, but I see some questions in the Q&A, so I think that it's time for me to stop sharing and to get to your questions. All right, so what's going on in the Q&A, Colin?
All right. Well, we have 7 minutes to go, so we're going to do lightning round questions.
Right.
But yeah, so much great information. Thank you so much for that. To kick us off, do these features work in other countries internationally?
Yes, with the exception of the shopping tab. Remember that was a little call out. The shopping tab is only available in the US.
Love it. Is listing our products on the Google platform, does it help in any way to improve SEO or visibility to our store?
Absolutely. This is where people go to search.
Awesome. There's a couple questions around Shopify versus other platforms. Somebody asked me.
I know. Okay, you guys, I know because it's confusing because Shopify is a part of this presentation. The reason that it's a part of this presentation is because if you use Shopify, you don't have to go through that website verification step. And so if you're starting from scratch, right, we try to help you out the path of least resistance. You would set up a Shopify website because you get to skip that step. If you already have an e-commerce store that's already working, you do not need to go scrap your e-commerce store and set up a Shopify platform. The only thing that will be different is that you will have to go through the website verification step.
Great.
That's all it is.
Yeah, super helpful. Let's see. Once the product is on the spreadsheet, do you have to update it daily for the availability, or is there a way to add the amount that calculates it when the amount is reached?
So you would update it as it makes sense, right? Because remember, the Merchant Center is pulling from the product feed. So I mean, if you sell out daily, that would be a good problem to have, right? It would absolutely be a good problem to have, and I don't think he would mind having to make updates like that.
Awesome. Let's see. Is there a way to automate the product description section for retailers to optimize system and reduce effort?
You know what? I am not really sure about that.
Okay.
That's something that email me that person. I can double check that. I feel like adding product descriptions usually in the beginning is a manual process. If there is an automation, I'd be more than happy to explore that and get back to you. Yeah.
Alrighty. And then for the product to appear faster in Google search, the recommendation is to set up first your merchant account and then your website.
So here's the thing, and this is just my point of view. I think that everybody should have their own website. That is think of the wheel. The website's your hub, and everything else connects to it, right? So as the best practice, I'm a digital marketer myself. I am not into telling people you don't need a website. It just goes against the way my brain works. So have your website first, please, and then connect your merchant center. That is my opinion. I stand firmly by it. So
Yep.
I'm just giving you the advice that I would give my clients.
Yep, love it. And also, if you've already done all the work with filling out all the descriptions on the website, everything else is easier from there.
Everything else, exactly, absolutely.
Let's see. How long does it take for Google to verify a correction made to your store?
It really should not take more than, I would say, a couple hours max. Sometimes it can be a couple minutes, right? Remember, the product data is syncing though, right? So if you update it, shouldn't take more than a couple minutes.
Awesome. Somebody has been experiencing some challenges with structured data issues on their website, and they reviewed all their products. Now it says account suspended due to policy violation, website needs improvement. They asked for it to be reviewed. However, the review turns with the same error. And then they're wondering if there's anybody that they can chat with to understand what's going on.
Yeah, that's a heavy one.
That's a googly question, not a Petia question, I'm guessing.
Right. I would recommend, so if you're already having a support sort of discussion with the support team at Google, because they have support teams that handle this, I would continue to have that discussion because they would be able to tell you specifically what needs to be changed. Now, like, I'm not sure if you are handling the structured data markup yourself, or if you had a web developer do it. Sometimes the path of resistance is usually to get the help of the web developer, because many times they can tell if they're experienced making these updates or adding structured data. Maybe that person will be able to see what is wrong so that when you resubmit it to Google, it works. I'm not really sure what the situation is. The web developer looked over everything and said everything was fine. Okay, do me a favor. You're going to have my contact information. Like, I'm blind here. I can't even really see what's going on. I don't want to give you the wrong advice. Email me separately and we can continue this conversation offline. And hopefully I can put you in contact with somebody in Google or the support team that could assist
Great.
you.
Well, that was going to be my last question, is how does everyone get a hold of you? But I believe we're following up with that information after this event.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay, somebody's going to switch to Shopify. Okay.
Hey, whatever's the easiest,
Path
right?
of least resistance. I hear you. Yeah. Path of least resistance. Yeah.
Well, Petia, I could spend hours with you, and we will be in the next coming months. So I really appreciate you dedicating your time and expertise on this topic to our community today. Thank you so much.
It has been a pleasure. I enjoyed being here and looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. And for those of you still on, we want to learn something that will help us inform what programs you'd like to learn in the future. So I'm launching a really quick poll that we would appreciate your input on what category you'd like to learn in the next month or so. I'm going to use this direct data to inform what topics, trainers, and mentors I should be chasing after in the next couple months. Looks like marketing is the lead, which is no surprise considering the topic today. Petia, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us online. We'd love to hear your feedback. So fill out that form. Fill out Petia's feedback form too, because she's going to learn from that.
Help Google help you.
Alrighty. And we look forward to seeing you all online soon. Hopefully you can join our future events. Thanks again, everyone.
Have a good rest of your day.